Frances Tiafoe has been responsible for handing two major defeats in the span of less than a month this year. Well, the first one earned him praise from the entire sporting world as he knocked out Rafael Nadal from the US Open. The second one has brought about mixed reception from fans. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at the world's reaction to Tiafoe and Jack Sock's win over Federer in Laver Cup. Starting with, why is Tiafoe getting hatred for his behavior? Simply put, Tiafoe became the center of all the hatred because he was the villain of the night. This might have been part of Team World's strategy when they took the field against Federer and Nadal in the doubles match. Well, they executed their strategy to perfection on the court. It's unlikely anyone could ever be prepared to receive the full wrath of Federer fans for their strategy. They just couldn't accept the fact that Tiafoe had done the impossible and ruined what was not written in the script. That is, giving Federer his picture-perfect exit. It's also a shame that the Americans getting that much hate for doing no wrong, and we're glad that Federer himself had the decency to point out the absurdity of it all. Some fans believe that Tiafoe was really aggressive in his approach, but we think that's a bad take. If you look back at the game, the 24-year-old was the most nervous player after Roger for obvious reasons. He was the least skilled in the doubles format among the four players and had a hard time adjusting to the pace of the match. When he finally managed to get in the game, he produced a couple of magic moments, and even as die-hard Federer fans, we just want to say, go on, son, celebrate them as you want. Some believe that Tiafoe shouldn't have pelted Federer and Nadal with back-to-back shots. Is that wrong? Well, no. Is it frowned upon? Yes. But does Tiafoe deserve any hatred for it? Certainly not. Federer himself wanted to bow out in competitive tennis, and he knows better than anyone else that players aren't going to lay down and gift him a win. Moving on, Tiafoe's behavior during the Federer finale. Before we get to tennis fans and their mixed reaction, we've got to take a quick look at what Tiafoe did. Let's just say there was nothing too wrong with it. It just might be emotions getting to fans. If we're being honest, we love Federer and we've supported him throughout his career. And we've been irrational too, but we don't understand why Tiafoe's getting all this hatred because he certainly doesn't deserve it. Don't get us wrong, Tiafoe's only fault was defeating Federer in his final match. Yeah, he deprived the greatest player of all time his fairy tale ending, but it wasn't a friendly match anyway. It was an important fixture in the Laver Cup and had a lot riding on it. Why would Frances just hand a win over to Federer? And of course, when you're playing against two of the best players of all time, you'd want to give your best. Tiafoe defeated Nadal in the US Open and then also handed a rare defeat to Federer in a doubles match. That's the stuff of dreams. These players work hard and train extensively for years to get where they are. Of course, they'd want to win the match when they're playing at their very best. As we explained, it's obviously a big moment for Federer, considering it's the final match of his career, but also for Tiafoe and Sock, and they did nothing wrong at all. Up next, some positive backing for Tiafoe. Well, the anger of the tennis world was unmatchable. It mellowed down immediately in the aftermath of the match. That's mostly because the world saw that once the final point had been played, the American duo was very respectful, and instead of taking the court as champions, they cleared it for Federer to take over. This moment truly got support back for Tiafoe, but it also showed that Frances had nothing but respect for Federer and his achievements. Others on social media joined the discourse and explained that Tiafoe had done nothing wrong. As a 24-year-old belonging from the toughest era, it was his moment to make a mark, and it's incredible to see him take his chance. We agree with it. Not many players will ever have the same kind of success as Federer did, and with such sporadic success, it's important they get to enjoy their moments. After all, what could be better than getting wins over two of the biggest players? It's once-in-a-career stuff. His biggest supporter was Federer himself. At the end of the match, Federer explained how even though the result hadn't been a good one, it was still good and he was thankful to everyone, including the likes of Tiafoe and Sock, for making the night special. So we want to end this debate. It's completely unfair to say that Tiafoe was extra aggressive. He played the game, Federer respects it, and that's about it. Adding to that, what does Tiafoe have to say? Credit to Tiafoe for not reading too much into the millions of tweets and comments on his posts regarding his behavior in the Federer match. In fact, he was confident about his stance on the whole situation, and it became pretty obvious from the press conference after the match. The US Open semifinalist explained that he had no reasons for apologizing to Federer for that result, and we think that he's absolutely spot on when he says this. Why should he have to apologize for the result? The fact that Federer got such an amazing farewell that it hardly matters what the result was. It's not even like Tiafoe and Sock stopped Federer from playing again in the tournament because Roger had pointed out beforehand that he'll only be playing in one doubles match. And Tiafoe turned the tide on Federer and said that if he has to apologize, then the Swiss maestro owes many players many apologies over the last 24 years. That's one way to look at it. Instead, Frances thanked Federer and company for having him in the tournament and told everyone that the 20-time major champion is also a class act, and he's happy to call him a friend and a colleague, but he certainly won't apologize. We'd say that pretty much settles it, doesn't it? Tiafoe won the match fair and square, and Federer took it to the chin like a king. That's about all there is to it. In other news, first up, Tiafoe into the Tokyo semis. It's turning out to be a fantastic end to Tiafoe's 2022. After a superb US Open campaign, the American shocked the world when he and Sock defeated Federer and Nadal in Roger's final match of his career. It seems that Tiafoe doesn't have any plans of stopping and wants to turn his good form into a few trophies if possible. He's playing at the highest level of his career at the moment, and without dropping a single set, finds himself in the semi-finals of the Tokyo Open against Kwon Soon Woo. In the quarters, Tiafoe faced Kekmanovic and ended up destroying the Serb in the first set before finishing the match in 2 sets, 6-0, 6-4. He'll be hoping to add a second career title to his tally, but it won't be easy because he could potentially face an in-form Denis Shapovalov in the finals. Next, Frances meets Steph at NBA Japan Games. The Tokyo Open meant that tennis was the main attraction in Japan, but it also hosted a few NBA Japan games. This meant that we had some serious stardom on display. In attendance were the likes of Naomi Osaka, Alex de Minaur, Tiafoe, and the rosters of the Washington Wizards and the Golden State Warriors from the NBA. The tennis trio decided to spend their evening watching the NBA preseason game between the Wizards and the Warriors, and Tiafoe was the lucky one as he also got to meet some of the players before the game. Including those stars was the current MVP of the NBA, Steph Curry, and Tiafoe was properly made up with that meeting. He explained how Steph's one of his idols, and the fact that Curry acknowledged Tiafoe's US Open achievements was something that would live with Tiafoe forever. What a moment. Lastly, Tiafoe and de Minaur lose doubles opener in Japan. While Tiafoe's having the time of his life in the last couple of months, it's not like everything's been good for him. Both de Minaur and Tiafoe decided to join hands in Tokyo to compete in the doubles campaign, but they couldn't make it past the round of 16. The duo of McDonald and Mello were a little too good on the night, as they dominated proceedings from the first minute and handed Tiafoe and de Minaur a straight sets defeat. It's a disappointing result, but it allows the American to focus on the singles campaign as he chases a second career title. That's a wrap for this video. Where do you stand on this Tiafoe debate? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.